one has to approach a problem at such a generational level, where we're talking about a crisis of youth, which is not affecting one or two families, and it's not affecting one or two communities, but it's affecting every family, and it's affecting every community today. And for the religious community, they're talking about darkness. The darkness, what's the darkness? The darkness is that we don't see the big tzaddikim and the nisim, the geulim, we don't see the nisim and the gilui, the revelation of the work that the refuah that is coming from the makar, the shirish from Malach Refuah. We don't see it being revealed. Why? Is in order for the doctor to bring down the hamshacha from Malach Refuah, he has to first, number one, understand what is the problem affecting the whole generation, and number two, every person is unique in their own trauma and their own experience of what that symptom is. Everyone is affected by the symptom in a different way. The symptom is different, which means the concealment, the helen, is we have to tap into something that's lamayla matam b'das, so that we have to bring down the gilui into a world that is dark, and that includes the secrets of healing. In order for someone to bring down, to tap in and to bring that down, not only do they have to have havana v'hasaga of that person's problem, to understand the shirish of it, but they also have to be a nesiv, the lamed based nesiv is chokhmah, to bring down the chokhmah ilah that is required to come down into that refuah. So we see in technology, the advancements that we have, that the medications and the treatments that we have in many fields now are very sophisticated and very complicated. But you cannot put a complicated machine in the hands of a monkey. The person, in order to bring down these refuahs, they themselves have to be clean. In other words, if they're going to go into the heichel and take these oysters and to bring it down, they themselves have to be able to be like a Kohen Gadol. So, one has to understand what is the symptom. The big symptom is that this last generation has been given a test like no other generations before. Is because in the time of the Rambam, there was the Rambam. In the time of the Baal Shem, there was the Baal Shem. In the time of when I started, we had Moshe Feinstein. We used to ask Shilas. They used to call me to new situations. That how do we apply now that it never existed before, such situations. Rabbi Dworkin, Rabbi Chadikov, Rabbi Hecht, they used to ask me, what does halacha say in such a situation? So I give you for instance, if someone has become dependent on a medication, do they stop on that, or do they stop on Shabbos medication that maybe they don't need it that Shabbos? But if they don't take it, then they're going to go into withdrawal on that Shabbos. Are you allowed to put someone through withdrawal on Shabbos? Where I had another situation where someone married into a very big family. The culture, it was not a good match. They were from a very Hasidim family, and the other one was from South America. And it looked nice until Sheva Brachas. And came Sheva Brachas, he cracked up. So they called Rabbi Dworkin, and they said they want quickly to make a get before it goes further. He never had a history. He didn't have a shvira before. This is the first time. Everyone is agreement. Let's walk away, make it clean. Each one start their own life. So Rabbi Dworkin calls me through Rabbi Chodakov, and he says there's a problem, because if he is Meshuggah, he cannot give the get. The get is not kosher. The get is not a kosher get, because he's a shreita. He's not a bar das. On the other hand, if he's not a bar das, we don't want him. So what do we do? So I had to go in. He called me, and when Rabbi Chodakov calls you, doesn't matter if it's 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, Motzei Shabbos, you go in the house, you look at the situation, and I sat down with he's a younger man, he's married 2 days, and I asked him, what happened, Obi? What happened? And he told me. He said, I'm a very weak, fragile person. This family is a very powerful family. I couldn't handle it. I broke. I couldn't handle it. So at that moment, he was a badass. So when I called Rabbi Chodakov, Rabbi Dworkin told him, make him sign right now. Bring in the Eidim and make him sign right now. We did it. Right? And then I realized, in such a situation, today that we have a criteria. What is defining that a person is a badass or a person's not a badass, so that they can get a get. So he wanted that the mumcha should be there and should be able to tell him, so he could make psak, not just by hearing from something or making an appointment in the normal way. It had to be right there. That was the moment that it had to be done. And so he was the Rebbe's mensch. That's how the Rebbe worked. He doesn't look at the clock. This is a situation that has to be solved. So they sent me. I was Zoicha. I had just arrived in New York, Mem Aleph. This was one of my first cases. I thought to myself, I'm just 30 years old. Why is Rabbi Chodakov calling me? I'm just learning, I'm just beginning my career. Now I understand. Someone told me, can you imagine how many people can say that they had Shimush by Rabbi Dworkin? The youth today are very underestimated by the adults. The adults, maybe that they can fool themselves, but they cannot fool the children. So they're looking at the children like they're bad, they're off the derech, they're rebellious, and so on. Which this is a symptom of something which is the parent's failure. The parent does not want to look inside himself, so he's looking at everything that he did not give the child, but he's looking at it himself. He's looking at it at the child, and he's criticizing it, and he's attacking it. Why is he attacking it, and why is he so upset? Because he himself is angry with his own failure to prevent such a situation from happening. And in honesty, it's not the parents' fault either. Because if you look just at the history, that take Lubavitch, we were zoicha that we were able to get the oitzes from the Kisvei Rizal. We got from the Mamorim from the Alter Rebbe that the Maggid told the Alter Rebbe that he wanted that he should go into the Pnimius Halacha. When you're learning Halacha, that you should understand Today, if you are throwing at the children a book of rules without them feeling a kiruv to the one who wrote the rules, without having a love for the Father, our Father in heaven, who wrote the book, why should we want to read the book? So if you're attacking the children because they're not following the rules, all you're doing is you're merachek them. The same thing in anything. If the child is not motivated, he's not wanting to keep Seder, he cannot concentrate. So right away they want to give him Adderall to make him concentrate. Maybe he's not concentrating because the Rebbe himself doesn't know what he's teaching.
In the cheder.
In the cheder. How is it that and why did this happen? This happened is that when after the Holocaust, what they did to the Polish Jews, and after what the Soviets did to the Lubavitchers, there was only a handful of people who were in Atvas and in Shanghai in the 1940s that they came here. Only just a few families, of which from the original families of Chabad, there was only a handful left. You could maybe count them about as 10, maybe 12, maybe 15. We're not talking more than that of what we would call Geza. Now, the Polish and the handful of Lubavitch who did survive, for 70 years under the ban of communism, they were not allowed to teach. They were not allowed to practice Yiddishkeit. So what was left over after that symptom was a few Russians the Yiddishkeit was underground for 70 years, and the Polish who they were not coming from Chabad backgrounds. And now you're going to teach them Kisvei Arizal. These were times of survival. So the Rebbe brought back the life of Chassidus and other tzaddikim through the Moifsim. The Idris, the Sifra Tzniusa, the Sefer Habayir, the Sefer Yetzirah. That is Ksav Yad. No one looked at that. And look at the Mishnah is, if you say the Mikra is Sefer Tzniusa and Sefer Yetzirah, then that's the Mikra, and the Mishnah is the Idris, and the Gemara is everything that was written after that by the Mukabalim Ha'achrenim. Then you have the whole body of that. And Chabad is taking the pneumius of it, and it is teaching the pneumius, bringing it down. How do we apply that to Olam Hazeh? But if you go to the teachers, they don't understand these inyanim, because when they were learning at the time when they were meant to be learning this, the world was trying to destroy us. So they were running away. It's nothing to feel bad about. They were running away. Then it was not learned properly. As we're finishing with Parshas Yisro. Right? What does Parshas Yisro mean? It's that Matan Torah is the high point of the story of the Jewish people. That the Tzias Mitzrayim and Kriyas Yamsuf and Milchamas Hamalek was not enough that we should give Matan Torah. It had to be that Yisro came. Yisro came. The Eibishter is telling us something. This is not a normal thing. It's like naming the Torah. It's like naming Matan Torah after the Pope. Yisro was the Kohen Gadol of Midian, plus he was held by all of the other religions as being the one who was the chief guru. He knew, he was a master of every Avodah Zarah. So what does it mean that Matan Torah had to be named after him? Is because when he said, Ki yadativ, Ki gadol Hashem, ata yadativ, no. Ki gadol Hashem mikol elokim, that your God is the king. He's the number one. I looked at everything, but your God is number one. That is at a surface level. Why does the Rebbe explain that? The Rebbe explains that if you have Chochmah Ilah, which Chochmah Ilah is the Chochmah before the Yud Kei Vav Kei. So it's what they would say, let's say, Machshava HaKeduma Da'ak. The first thought that came into the Eibishter before there was even a Yud Kei Vav Kei, before the Tzimtzum. So he decided that there's going to be a whole Seder Hishtoshlos. There's going to be a creation of the worlds, from the highest worlds where the angels are to the lowest worlds which are fighting against Torah. Those are the people who are fighting that Yerushalayim belongs to the nations of the world. That Eretz Yisrael doesn't belong, and it doesn't even matter if you use any chokhmah. you cannot convince them of the emes. So those are what we call the Gimel Klippos HaTameos. Those are the chokhmas that went so low that it is impossible for them to believe the truth. By virtue of their creation, these are the people who the Erev Rav, the Shoirish is from the Chet Eis Adas and from the Meraglim. So the Eibishter wanted that the chief of all of those, the source of all of those negative and antagonist thoughts against the Eibishter and against the Emes and against the Torah, he wanted him to say, Ati Yadativ. And why is the word Yadativ? Is the shirish of the word Yadativ is Das. And Das is the Chet Eitz Das. So all of that when we talk about that the tree of knowledge, that it was eaten by the negative side, is that the Das was taken down so that all of those arguments could be used one day now as they're being used against the Jewish people. But at the same time, in order for the Chochmah Ilah to come down to elevate those technologies and those refuahs that can help us and that they are kosher, so therefore we needed Yisro to give a haskama that he's telling those clippers that we are number one. The Eibishter, the Torah, is the real emes. So by them making themselves bittul, to the Chochmah Ilah, is now we can use the Chochmas of the Umas Ha'olam and we can bring down of Chochmah Ilah, the highest level, that Machshava HaKeduma Da'ak, already decided that however far it goes, that the shirish of it acknowledges that he's the number one. Why? So that we can elevate those neshama, we can elevate those netzutzos. Those sparks needs to be elevated. If a person is ill, so we have to use anything that the Eibishter created for their refuah. Anything that was created, not only was created in the natural environment, but subsequently, that if man is able to create refuahs that can help, that can treat, that can cure, the source of that is from Chochmah Ilah of Machshava HaKeduma Da'ak. The first thought, the Eibishter already had that Gilui should come down to the sparks that can be used, those Chochmas. So that's why the Rebbe said, the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, he says, what about the purification of the Chochma of the nations of the world, of the sciences. What about that? So the Alter Rebbe says, and he says, look at the Rambam and Rabbi Maimonides, who was a big Makubal, and Maimonides, who was the king, is that they became physicians. They became physicians. Why? So that they could take the chokhmas of the time, the wisdom of the time, and they could bring Torah down to use those chokhmas for purposes of refuah. But why Yisra means it's always adding, it's dynamic, it's moving. So that technology and the chokhmas chitzonius, the external, what fell down from the highest level of wisdom into the intelligence that guides the refuahs, the treatments, the healing, whether it's in psychotherapy, whether it's in medication therapy. The Rebbe wanted the best. The best is so that the chokhmas the chokhmah elah can come down to the lowest level of chokhmah in chokhmas refuah. And as long as the person is not abusing it and is not taking it for their own profit or for their own fame or in order to be bought off by a pharmaceutical company and to abuse it that way, but if a person uses it in a pure way, then today, since we are now living in the times of Mashiach, everything can be cured.